welcome back. Today I am making some of those little clusters using an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And what I did first was I covered the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with pattern paper, like the tissue paper, and then I am putting the paper clusters on top of that. I thought it would just give an interesting or a nice background to the back, and I thought I'd try it this time. So first I had this brown, I don't know, what is it called? Like just brown paper and I craft paper, that's what I'm trying to think of. I added that first, and then I had some coffee dyed recipe paper and I added that next. So I didn't kind of show everything, I just basically layered those two types of paper on top of each other. And now I'm going to show a little more detail. This is some eco dyed paper that's a printable that I think it was from My Porch Prints, but if you guys are interested, let me know and I can look up the shop that I got those from. So I put those down, and then I'm taking some of these tea stain doilies and I'm going to just rip them up and put them around in the clusters. I thought it would give some nice texture with the little doily edges, and I really like how this turned out. I don't think I did this on my last video with the clusters, but I really like that extra kind of lacy texture that it gives to these clusters this time. So I'm pretty happy with kind of how that is. I'm going to now add my final layer of like the paper, and this is tea bags. So I thought this would also give a fun texture. It's a little bit different color than the other colors that I've used, and I think it picks up on some of the hues in the eco dyed paper. I'll add those here and there, kind of under a lot of places. Some of them I do put on top, but a lot of them I do put underneath some of the layers. And I just kind of like that fuzzy kind of detail. It's a little bit like tissue paper, but it just got a little bit different texture than that. So you can see I've just added it a couple different places. I think I pretty much put a piece of it in every cluster, almost. And I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I want to do. I want to pull out some of my little scrappy bits that I've had sitting next to my workstation. So you can see I had a little die cut. That is from a dictionary page. I have some just little pieces in this box. This is some Tim Holtz paper that I had in that box, just trying to use up these bits. I really like the clusters because you can really use these little bitty pieces that you just can't seem to throw away, and you can use them on projects and then feel good about it so you don't have them sitting in your stash. So I really like how that looked. I have glued everything down, and then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and that is what it looks like after I sewed it. I did some straight stitching, zigzag stitching, circle stitching, all that kind of stuff to make it kind of fun. And now I'm just going to be pulling these apart. Now I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I did use a cardstock for the background instead of a pattern, or instead of like a copy paper. I would recommend actually using a copy paper. It's a little thinner. These clusters do get a little bulky, and when I try to rip them, especially since I had the patterned tissue paper on them, it was just really hard to tear them, and they didn't tear very nice. So I would recommend using like a copy paper as the very bottom layer. Here's some little bits and pieces from Love Junk Journals. I printed out her digital kit, and this is a little traveler's notebook actually that I'm making, and so these clusters are going to go in that traveler's notebook. Some of them might be just a little bit too big, but I thought I would make them and just have the different variety to choose from, and if they don't work, they can always go in a different journal. So the little circles are also from Love Junk Journals, same kit. And I don't remember off the top of my head which kit that is, but if you're interested, let me know. I can always put that either in description, or I can email you back, or let you know in the comment section what it is. I'm just looking through my fussy cut mushrooms right now. I'm going to put a few of them here and there. I'm going to pull out some birds and some butterflies and just kind of put them throughout the clusters like I like them. The Love Junk Journal embellishments that I put on first, those are all on a lighter kind of cardstock that I printed out. So they just have a little more heft to them. All of my little fussy cut birds and things are all printed on a copy paper. I just never know exactly where I'm going to put them, and fussy cutting is, I really enjoy fussy cutting, but when you use like a cardstock, it's just a lot harder to cut, especially the intricate pieces, so I prefer putting it on copy paper. It's just easier for me. And then if I need to back any of them for any reason, I can do that and then trim them out again. So here I'm just looking at some of these little birdies, trying to figure out what's going to work. I think I put 2 or 3 down on the clusters. I really like the yellow one in the top right. Now I'm looking through some of my butterflies. I will kind of go through the stash and then find one that I really like, and I'll fussy cut that out. And then I'll add that to one of the cards. And you can see I've already added a couple butterflies in the top 2 left clusters. And then now I want to add some more texture. So I will be trimming off some of this coffee dyed cheesecloth, just kind of roughly trimming it out. I want it to look kind of crazy, so I don't try to make it look nice. I just snip off a chunk, and I'm going to just kind of put that in different places here on the different clusters underneath some of the embellishments that I've already have on and that kind of thing, just until I find it kind of how I like it. Now I did put that cheesecloth down, but I thought it was covering up the doily too much, so I do move that. And so you can see there that I just moved a little bit to the left so that you can see the stitching in the doily a little bit better. I'm using my 3-in-1 glue here to glue these down. I thought that little bottle was going to be better, but it really hasn't helped. And actually my glue is pretty thick right now. I need to get some just regular acetone to thin it down. I have ordered one of those Sugar Bell bottles. I'm hoping that will help. I've heard a lot of great reviews on those from some of the other YouTubers, so I'm hoping that will work. But I do like the smaller bottle because it's just a little easier to handle, but it's just still volcanoing out of the top and it's just really annoying. I'm hoping that with the metal tip of the Sugar Bell bottle, that's kind of what helps it from, volcanoing out the top. Not quite sure, but I've heard several people talking about it and absolutely love it. So I thought, why not? I'll try that. Sometimes I can just use tools and things like that, not worry about them if they don't work quite right. But sometimes when you use something over and over again, you want it to work well. So I figured I would just spend a little bit of the money to get something that's going to be working a lot better when I do my crafting. And I really like that 3-in-1 glue a lot. That's the only complaint I have about it is the fact that it does get a little thick, but you can add the acetone to it and then the bottle. So you can see here I'm just inking around some of these little die cuts that I had trimmed out, and I'm just gluing pretty much everything down where I want that. On this piece of cheesecloth I decided to take it to the sewing machine and add a zigzag stitch. You can see it's really thick, so I keep shaking the bottle. It finally comes out. I try to store it kind of with the tip pointing down, and that seems to help too, but while I'm working a lot of times I just let it sit on the side, and it doesn't always run down to the tip, so it just takes a little longer to get it going. Here I'm just inking up the little birdie. I really like how it looks. That little square that I'm gluing down right now also has a little bird on it, and it was a yellow bird, and I thought the two birds together kind of facing each other would be cute, so I like how this one turned out. I'm just adding some glue to make sure it sticks. I really like this little butterfly moth. I love the color on it. I thought it went well, and it really goes well with the little bird. So I'm getting to the end of the clusters. I'm going to be doing my final one here with the different fabric. And once I get all of this glued down, I do feel like I need a little bit more on these clusters. So what I'm going to do is pull out my stash of sequins, and I'm going to put a bunch of kind of a coppery brown colored sequins on these. So I thought that would be pretty fun, and I really like how this turns out. It gives it a little bit of sparkle. I try to tuck it in so they weren't just like on top of all the layers, so you'll see that here in just a little bit how that looks. Right now I'm just kind of fussing with this fabric and things. It wasn't being nice, so I was messing with it. The glue was sticking to my fingers and it was making the fabric and the paper and all that stick to myself too. So there, everybody's glued down. I really like how those clusters are turning out. Like I said, I think it needs just a little bit more, so you're going to see here in a couple minutes where I pull out those sequins. While I'm working on that, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I hope you are liking the videos. I will have definitely more in this kind of nature journal series. Like I had mentioned before, I'm making at least one traveler's notebook with the Love Junk Journals printables that I have. Really think the pages are really cute. I like the soft subtleness of them, and so you'll be kind of seeing different things that I'm making throughout that album or that journal. So that's kind of what these are all kind of going into. Here are some of the Love Junk Journal labels. I really like how these kind of finished off. I still have to put the sequins, but I just like how these finished off some of the more flat layers. So I'm just kind of playing around, seeing what's going to look good on each of these pieces. And I like the brown ones the best. I thought they worked the best with them. I have some blue and red ones. They just didn't seem to go with the colors and the layouts. I do pull, I think, a green one. That's in that bottom right cluster, and I think that looks pretty cool. But I pretty much stick to the brown color. Just seeing if I can stick that number somewhere. Nope, it's not going to work. I do put another number there on the bottom left bird, I think, as well. Just seeing where that can kind of slip. I don't want to stick it in too far because then you just can't see the layer. Really like how that looks. I thought it went well with the long wingspan of that butterfly, the longer label. So I added that, and then I'm going to add, I think, this little number here on the bird. Yep. Just add one more piece. I will glue all of those down. I think I just used my fine liner bottle and my Scotch Quick Dry for this. Oh, I do pull out a couple stamps. I think at least one that I'm going to put on that top right bird. Just kind of tuck it behind the layers. I really like the color on that. I just recently got more stamps in the mail. I bought them from somewhere in Europe. I can't remember if it was in the UK or where, but I did get some of those recently. They just came in. I got them on Etsy. Canceled stamps are relatively cheap and they make some really cute embellishments. I love the texture, I love the look of them, and they're so much fun. So I thought that was a great way to add some extra texture also to these clusters. I think I end up adding this little flower here, and I think that's all the stamps I end up using, just the three. I was trying to kind of do three of everything. You can see I have like three butterflies, I have three stamps, I think I only have like two birds, but I have three different bird embellishments on the page. And the mushrooms, I think I have three of those as well. So I kind of like the three. I thought they look well. I know they're not going to go on the same page in the journal, but I thought, having the three throughout the journal, it just kind of evens everything out. I kind of like to keep things kind of in odds. You'll see here that on the sequins that I put out, I'm pretty much going to be putting three of each sequins. And I don't use it on all clusters, I don't believe. I think I kind of put it on a few, just kind of seeing where I thought they are needed and just adding them in those different places. And what I'll do is I will glue those down also with my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. And it's just going to in a fine liner bottle, and you can get the fine liner bottle from Hobby Lobby. So you can see, just kind of figuring out where they would look good. Again, just tucking them under the layers because I didn't want them to stand out too much. I just wanted them to give a little bit of sparkle and color and kind of shine to the clusters. So that's kind of why I've decided to kind of tuck them into the different layers rather than just kind of place them on top. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to glue all those down. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when the next video is coming up, if you click on the little bell, it will let you know when my next video has been posted. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hope everyone is happy and healthy. And I will talk to you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.